Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this.
Over Rutgers 96-68. Boilermakers are 24-3, and Purdue now 2.5 games up in the Big Ten standings. They've all but formally locked up this conference regular season title, which is what we expected. And I think that my opening take, Coach McCall, is this. We walked into the year and we placed the highest of expectations on Purdue. Is there not something to be said about this team not overlooking the whole regular season and just thinking about March, which could have been easy to think about, and that they've won 24 of 27 games?
I think it's the most impressive thing, the fact that they have not been focused on March, because I think you see other teams across the country, and I'll throw FAU into the mix, and I know that we're going to talk about FAU in a little bit here, but you watch FAU play and you see some of the struggles that they've had, and you say, hey, look, that's a team that's just, hey, we'll be fine when we get to March. And that's not the case with Purdue. And coming out of the loss to Ohio State, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, is everything okay? Everything's fine. It's a wrap. They've won the Big Ten. It's over. And I was really trying to hype up the game in a couple weeks that they play Illinois on Tuesday night on Peacock. And Illinois loses last night, and it's a wrap for Purdue. And that's a credit to Matt Painter and his coaching staff, because they've kept it focused on one day, one game at a time. And I've said this all year, and I've said this on this show all year. When they get to the NCAA tournament, I don't think the first two rounds are even close. I think they will be in the Sweet 16, and they will run through the first two rounds. Now, when they get there, the matchups, everything, now you got to start taking those things into consideration. But what they've done the regular season to be this focused with all the noise and all the distraction that came into this year, with all the talk about the early exits in the NCAA tournament, it is super impressive. Fletcher Loyer, Braden Smith, they took a lot of flack last season, and those guys have come back. They've matured. They've grown, and that's the best team in the country. Them and UConn, nothing changes. Even with UConn's loss to Creighton, there is nothing has changed in terms of the two best teams in the country, in my opinion.
Jerel, are we too hard on Purdue?
I think at times we definitely are, but it seems like to me, and I think this is just a mark of a really good team, is that every time that they even have a slight slip, and they drop a game here or there, maybe a game that they shouldn't lose, or a tough game, kind of a trap game, but once they come back the next night and the next game and they respond, man. And tonight was another one of those messages. They just come out and they dominate the game with I think they had 52 in the first half, and they ended up shooting like I think over 50% from the three for the game, so they were red hot. Their defense was stifling. Rutgers didn't have an answer on either end of the court for them, man. And like I said all year long, I think just as far as pieces, personnel, and fit, that they're definitely the best team in the country. And it's just from a personnel standpoint, they got the Edey effect. They got all the pieces around them. They went and get Lance Jones. They have shooting. They have size. They guard for the most part. They're just not missing a whole lot. When those guys are clicking on all cylinders, they're almost impossible to beat.
They get a big night from Camden Heide. In 19 minutes, the freshman posts 7 for 7 from the floor. Camden, an early toast to you. Exactly. Coach McCall had it ready on After Dark.
That's my toast of the night. That's my toast of the night. You stole it, Fanta. You stole my toast of the night. We're so early in the show. Oh my gosh!
Coach, we're having a multiple
Waterloo. Come on.
Just Waterloo for you. Well, you can have 2 or 3 of those on the show. You can have 2 or 3 of those on the show. 7 of 7 from the floor, 4 of 4 from 3. And here's the thing. I don't know if Purdue is the surefire number 1 team in the country. That's a good thing for college basketball, because we could have debates right now, and I'm in a different class. Okay, I don't think it's just Purdue and Connecticut. Over the last 3 weeks, if you go to KenPom, and you look at the level of margin of victory over opponents, and analytically speaking, the way that teams have beat opponents, Arizona is number one in KenPom. Houston, they're in the Big 12 and they're 23-3. Like, if you replaced Houston with Kansas's name and had them at 23-3, we'd be talking about Kansas as maybe being the best team in the country. Let's treat Houston up on that hierarchy. I think Coach McCall, my point is, I don't know who the best team in the country is. I know this much, though. Purdue has every single reason to believe, to be optimistic. I know they got to get the monkey off their back. But this program has all the answers to the questions of, do you have what it takes to do it? Now, Matt, they just have to do it.
They just have to do it. I mean, that's the bottom line. And like I said, I don't think the first two rounds in the NCAA tournament are going to be even close. You know, like, you look at who they're going to be seeded against. Look, they're going to be the number one seed in the Midwest. So they're going to play UConn's going to be the number one seed in the East. They're going to be the number one seed in the Midwest, regardless of what happens and how it all transpires. And that's exactly so. Both teams are going to be playing games near their home courts. But I don't see. I see a team that's extremely focused. I think Matt Painter spent the entire offseason working on, why are we losing in the first weekend of the NCAA tournament? What are we doing in practice? What are we doing in practice in June, July, and August? Is that having an impact on us losing games in the first round of the NCAA tournament? I think the guys worked on all of that. So that's why I don't think the first two rounds for them are going to be close. Now, when you get to the Sweet 16 matchups, you know, who are you playing against? Do you run into a hot team? Like, all those factors come into place. But this team is focused. They're driven. They've grown up. They've matured. Like I just said, Fletcher Lawyer and Braden Smith, I mean, those guys took a lot of heat for the reason that they didn't get out of the first round last year. And Zach Edey said it at Big Ten Media Day, and he defended his teammates. That's a connected together team. And that's why to think that they don't get to Phoenix, am I picking them to get to Phoenix right now today? Yeah, I am, because I think that they've been through enough. They're hardened, they're calloused, and they're focused. And not only are they going to win the Big Ten, and we'll see what happens in the Big Ten tournament. Crazy things are going to happen, but man, I just don't see them not making a run in the NCAA tournament. I don't see it.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.